YouTube, I'm not finished with you! Alright, that were pretty damn lame even by my standard. But why am I back? Why am I sat here wibbling on at a computer? Well, first of all, it's not just to show you that I do a pretty good Tommaso Ciampa impression. I'm back because today is the 1st of April, and that means we are only 1 week away from WrestleMania. Actually, thinking about it, maybe I should have gone with a Big Show impression instead. Anyway, not the point. I'm going to do a video that's basically talking about my WrestleMania predictions. Now, I should point out that I used to watch wrestling quite regularly. I'd watch every pay-per-view. I'd try and catch up with Raw, SmackDown, and NXT when I could. Recently, I've not been keeping up with it that well. I've been on different shifts at work, which means I've been having to go to bed earlier, which means I can't afford to stay up until like 4 o'clock in the morning to watch pay-per-view. So the last few pay-per-views, still not watched them. But I am watching WrestleMania. That means I'm going into WrestleMania with not really many ideas about what the is happening. Yeah, there's stuff like PW Insider and Dave Meltzer. Probably shouldn't mention that name because opinions divided. But yeah, there's dirt sheet sites and rumours sites and all sorts of stuff that you can look at, and that's what I tend to do for results for like Raw and SmackDown. I'll have a look at these websites and see what happened and just assume that the show were bad. Is that wrong? Should I be assuming that the shows are as bad as the reviews and results write-ups make them seem? Either way, that's where I'm at. I've not watched any wrestling for since probably before Christmas, so heading into Mania is going to be an interesting experience for me, and I've just decided to throw a video together with what I expect to happen. So let's get started. Now, these things are probably not going to be the order what they're going to appear on the show. Don't forget, WrestleMania this year is going to be about 7 hours long, I think, which is probably a good thing that I've booked time off work, because getting up, going to bed at 5 o'clock and then getting up at 7 would have killed me. I'm just working through matches that have already been announced and possibly covering some that are rumoured but have not actually been announced yet. Starting with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I'm going to assume that there's going to be more people in this one than that have already been announced, because the list of people announced for it isn't that big yet. To confirm who we've got so far announced, we have Dash Wilder, Scott Dawson, Baron Corbin, Mojo Rawley, Ty Dillinger, Matt Hardy, Dolph Ziggler, Fandango, and Tyler Breeze. Not that I want to upset any fans of most of that list of people, but you're not really talking any of the massive hitters. Couple of exceptions to that list. Matt Hardy, I think we can announce, has been brilliant as of late, finally getting permission to use the broken gimmick. I think you mean woken. Yeah, what he said. Either way, since the Broken Universe, or Woken Universe, depending on what you want to call it, has come to the WWE, I think we can all say that Hardy has been enjoying himself just as much as he were in TNA, before the obsolete Owl decided to start throwing accusations of copyright infringement around. Baron Corbin obviously won it last year, so the chances of him winning it, probably not that strong, but he's going to be a contender. Ziggler, we all know, has been practically shat on by WWE for a long time now, but over the last few months he almost seemed to be getting a bit of traction before WWE'd him again. But he's another player. It's a possibility. Other than them three, though, the list of people that have so far been announced, can't see anybody else winning this thing. So unless we are going to have some more announcements tomorrow on Raw and Tuesday on SmackDown, which probably is likely, I'm going to give it to Matt Hardy, just because I want to see him grab that trophy, lift it in the air, and say, yes! Never do that again, Wasley. This year, of course, is also going to see a women's battle royal. Now, I'm not going to cover any of the controversy from what they were going to name it, because it's been done to death with plenty of videos on YouTube already. So I'm just going to gloss over all that stuff. So, Women's Battle Royal then. Who's in it and who's going to win it? List of participants of the Women's Battle Royal. Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, Naomi, ugh, I ain't feeling the glow. Natalya, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Bayley, and Lana. Now, the women's roster has been fantastic, or in theory, it's been fantastic at least. I'm not going to bitch and whine and moan about how main roster kind of ruins women's wrestling in a lot of ways. I'm just going to talk about the match. There's a few people on that list that could realistically win it. Again, we've probably not had all the participants announced yet. Might get a couple of shocks. Maybe Lita turning up, or Trish, you know, because they did appear at Royal Rumble in the first ever Women's Rumble. I'd like to think, though, that they are going to give it to somebody who is on the roster, like, permanently. Bayley and Sasha are obviously in the middle of a great feud. We finally seem to be getting the Sasha Banks heel turn that some of us have wanted for quite a long time. Yes! Whether or not that is going to play into this match, who knows? Personally, I'm going with my girl, the Irish lass, the fiery, red-headed wonder that is Becky Lynch. For no other reason than I really like Becky Lynch. I can see this being a great match, though. Even if some people, like on my friends' lists and stuff, aren't going to agree. I do think it can be good. I just hope it don't get buried on pre-show. Next up, we've got a match that is going to have made millions upon millions. Sorry, I'm quoting The Rock. It's not The Rock. Next up, there's a match that has made millions of marks across the world. Very, very happy because we are finally seeing the in-ring return of Daniel Bryan. Yes! 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 Now, we all know that this is something that should have happened a long time ago, but for whatever reason, Vince just does not like to see people being popular and selling merchandise. Daniel Bryan's been fit to compete for quite a while. Independent doctors cleared him, but WWE's doctors wouldn't. I suspect his contract coming to an end might be partly the reason behind why Vince is letting him step back in a ring. But WrestleMania will be seeing, or may be seeing, Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon facing Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Now, I say may because, as you're probably aware, Shane McMahon had to have surgery. First, he got a bout of acute diverticulitis. And then, after an attack by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, he got rushed to hospital because he needed surgery for a umbilical hernia. That surgery is possibly going to put this match at risk. Whether or not he'll be fit to compete, I can't see it, but I might be wrong. I'm not a doctor, as you probably know. But whether or not he's going to be fit is another matter, and this match could end up changing the way it looks. You could end up with somebody else as a partner for Bryan. You could end up with Bryan going at it on his own, facing Sami and Owens. Either way, the match will happen in some way, shape or form because the storylines build it as Sami and Kevin have to win to get their jobs back. That could go either way in terms of storyline. Sami and Owens losing and therefore not having a job would mean the storyline can continue after WrestleMania. And of course that would mean that Daniel Bryan gets a victory in his first match in probably like nearly 2 years. At the same time, if they want to end that story, want the feud over with, then Sami and Kevin cheat, win. Storyline continues with them having the job back straight away. Personally, I don't like the idea of a WrestleMania where the fans aren't all on the seats doing the chant that I did a few seconds ago. Bryan has to win on his return, and I don't think Bryan winning is going to bury either Sami or Kevin, and we just find out how they get the jobs back on the first SmackDown after WrestleMania. I'm going to give this to Daniel Bryan and whoever the hell he ends up teaming with, whether it's Shane or not. The Yes Man will be getting the victory. At least that's what I want. Next match then. And this one is one that has caused a big divide in opinion. This is a mixed tag match which pits Kurt Angle and the debuting at the Royal Rumble, I want to say. Yeah, debuting at the Royal Rumble, Ronda Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Now, I get why it's divided opinion. Not a lot of people like the idea of Rousey being in WWE. Stephanie's not really a wrestler. Kurt Angle can't really wrestle that well anymore because of all his injuries. On paper, it could be a disaster or it could be great. I think it's going to be an halfway decent match. I'm looking forward to it. I think the build for Rousey's been decent. She's not just come in and obliterated everybody she's gone up against because she's not had a match yet. And anybody that's saying she's not going to be able to wrestle, you know, she fought in MMA. The only difference is she's got to learn to pretend to hit people instead of actually hitting them. Like, literally, that is the worst thing that she can do, is actually deck somebody because she forgets that it's meant to be scripted. I'm looking forward to this one, and it might be shit, it might be great, but I think they've built Rousey well, and I'm interested to see what'll happen. Probably going to be a case of you'll see Triple H and Kurt fighting most. Maybe Rousey gets in Triple H's face at some point. And I'm expecting Kurt and Ronda Rousey to win when Ronda eventually gets Steph in some sort of submission move. And it's wham bam, thank you, man, because Steph taps like a tapper. Didn't think that one through. We've also got the Cruiserweight title being defended at WrestleMania this year, and I hope that they don't actually put this on the pre-show. But we have got Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, who've gone through the Cruiserweight tournament all the way through the brackets until the final, and we will get to see the final on the biggest stage of all. Now, I am a big Cruiserweight wrestling fan. Some of my favourite wrestlers have been on the smaller side, lots of flippy stuff. I mean, my favourite Cruiserweight currently isn't in WWE, so not really going to get to see him holding the belt. But Noam Dar is in the WWE at the minute, even though he's injured, and he is also on 205 Live. So I hold out hope that at least one of my favourite Cruiserweights eventually gets to the title. But yeah, we are getting Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali going one-on-one for the Cruiserweight Championship, vacated in nefarious circumstances. It was Enzo that lost the title, weren't it? Better not talk about that one. I'm expecting a decent match. I think it depends where it ends up on card, whether it ends up being any good. Mustafa Ali, that's my pick. No real reason other than somebody has to win it. Then we get to think about tag titles. Another tag match. Now, obviously, the order I'm talking about these in isn't necessarily going to be order on show. This is just matches that are announced. But we will see the Bootio Boys, aka New Day, and the Bludgeon Brothers challenging the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I wasn't always the biggest Usos fan. They irritated me for quite a while. As of late, though, been impressed. I mean, they've always had great chemistry and ability in ring, don't get me wrong. Not saying that they're done. I just didn't like them as characters. But this heel turn and the repackaging that they sort of went through, I dig it. New Day is one of them teams where, even though I have got like the Bootio's box, which has got figures in it behind me, I sort of go through stages whether I like them or not. Bludgeon Brothers, I think they needed repackaging because they were just associated with the Wyatt family, and that's all they've been. And now at least they've got their own thing going on instead of just being like the minions of Bray. This one, not sure. I can see the Usos retaining. I can see New Day winning. Can't see Bludgeon Brothers winning, even if I do kind of look like a non-ginger Eric Rowan. How many bald wrestlers am I going to look like in this video? I'm going to say Usos retain. I might be wrong. I might not be. But that's my pick. Onto the Raw Tag Team titles then, and I have to admit that when I first saw who had won the match to determine who challenged the Bar for the Raw Tag titles, I thought this was going to be something completely different. Braun Strowman winning the match on his own was really interesting because I found it really funny, but also if they're going to build Strowman up as someone who is this big monster, why not put him against the tag team to try and win the tag team titles on his own? That's not what's happening, which is fair enough. I get it. It's tag team titles. You're meant to be a tag team. So Braun is getting a mystery partner. One of the theories online is that it's going to be Bobby Lashley, and can't really say I care about that because I was never the biggest Lashley fan, whether it were his original run in WWE, whether it was his TNA run, or just him in general. But I'm sure that they'll find somebody entertaining for Braun to team with, and I've got to admit, Braun Strowman has been really impressive lately. He's been funny as hell in the mixed tag challenge with Alexa Bliss, and he came across as a beast when he was feuding with Reigns. He went up against Lesnar, you know, all that sort of stuff. It was great. It's just, he needs that little something more. He needs that final push. Whether or not this is right for that, I don't think it is, because it's the tag titles and he should probably be a main event wrestler challenging for the big main event title. Maybe his partner will be somebody that blows me away and it'll make an epic WrestleMania moment. I'm going to give the Monster Among Men and his mystery partner the nod. I think whoever it's going to be, they will beat the Bar, and although it'll be a decent match, Cesaro will be amazing, Sheamus will be Sheamus will be Sheamus, and it'll probably be good. I'm going to give it to Braun. and whoever the heck he chooses to team with him. On to the women's titles then, and first up we've got the first ever Women's Royal Rumble winner, Asuka, challenging SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair to a match for the title. Asuka has been built up as this almost invincible character since she debuted in NXT, and I get that she's like a big legend in Japan. At this point, I just don't care. I really don't. Asuka, yeah, she's been protected to keep the streak alive, and it's now the longest streak in wrestling. I honestly expected her to challenge Alexa Bliss and for Charlotte to defend against somebody else, maybe even Ronda Rousey if they were wanting to push Rousey that quickly. As it turns out, it's possible that Asuka is going to go to SmackDown because I can't see her streak ending at Mania. I might be wrong, they might shock the world, it's been done before, blah, 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 but I don't think you protect somebody like Asuka as long as they have, just to have a lose at WrestleMania in her first ever title shot. For that, I've got to go with Asuka winning, even though I don't want her to. We've also got the Raw Women's Championship on the line as well, when Alexa Bliss goes one-on-one against Nia Jax, with Nia looking to finally beat her old BFF, because they were quite friendly apparently. Not that I paid that much attention, because like I say, I don't bother watching Raw or SmackDown. I am such a good wrestling fan, as you can tell. Probably Nia's time. In fairness, they probably should have put the belt on Nia a while ago. I can see it happening here. I know there's a lot of people getting fed up with Alexa Bliss, and I'm in two minds about her myself. Yeah, she's been a fantastic heel, but on the other hand, I should put an Alexa here. Yeah, on the other hand, do I care at this point? Do I not? Undecided. I think Alexa's time probably is over, and Nia's time probably started a while ago. But no matter which way it plays off, I'll not mind, but I think Nia's going to take it. We are getting towards the final 4 matches that are actually announced at this point. Next one on the list is the United States Championship, with, of course, Randy Orton holding the title, going up against Rusev, because every day is Rusev Day in Bulgaria, Jinder Mahal, and the glorious one himself, Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode, obviously the ex-champion, Orton beating him, I think, at the last pay-per-view, although don't quote me on it, because as I said, I've not been watching the pay-per-views thanks to my work schedule. This match could be fantastic, it could also be dreadful. Part of me, the sceptical part of me, the pessimist, says that the only reason you've got Rusev in there is because Rusev's doing good business on merch at minute, with the whole Rusev Day thing, him and Aiden English. Jinder, who, you know, I actually liked his world title run because it was something different, but Jinder's probably in there just for the market in India. Yeah, he's a hard worker, he's improved a hell of a lot as well, and I probably wouldn't want to piss him off to his face because have you seen him? But I think it's going to come down to one of two people. It's either going to be Randy Orton retaining, which won't surprise me because he only won it recently, or Bobby Roode is going to take his title back. Rusev is an outside shot because, you know, like I said, Rusev Day has just took off astronomically in terms of the fans chanting and the signs and the merchandise. But I don't see Vince putting Rusev or Jinder over at WrestleMania for this one unless he really wants a shock and he's not planning to deliver it later on in the show. So I'm going to go with the Viper retaining and this feud carries on after Mania. On to the Raw half of the second tier titles then. We get the Intercontinental Championship defended by the new daddy, The Miz, who will defend his belt against Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. Rollins, of course, having a fantastic Mania moment a couple of years ago when he came in and cashed Mr. Money in the Bank himself in and put himself in the Universal title picture, and, of course, came out winning that belt. Brilliant ending to a show. Something tells me that this year's not going to live up to that when it ends. But we'll get to that in a minute. Intercontinental title. The Miz has been one of the greatest heels in WWE for probably 2 years now. His daughter's just been born. Congratulations. Not that you're ever going to see this, but, you know, can't say that I don't care. I think he's been a fantastic worker. He's amazing on the microphone, and his number of Intercontinental title runs just shows that WWE have got faith in him to carry it. The feud with Bryan when he were on SmackDown was also fantastic. Is it his time to pass the belt on somebody else? Possibly. Finn's not really had his fair crack at stuff. You know, he won the Universal title as the first ever one, which means I cocked up earlier and Seth cashed in to become world champion. Not the point. Yeah, Finn obviously becoming the first ever Universal champion and then getting himself injured like a silly boy. Ever since then, not really had much opportunity, whether that's down to Vince and preferring his big, gigantic, muscly monsters or not, I don't know. Everybody's got a lot of faith in Balor if he can stay injury-free. And then, of course, you've got Rollins, who, yeah, he's not been used the best in the last year or so, ever since his issues with the Authority came to an end, etc., etc. But these three can all go, and that's an important thing to think about, because all three wrestlers are showstoppers. They all put on great performances for the fans, and it could go anyway. If I'm being cynical, do I think that The Miz is going to lose the title a week or so after his daughter's born? Probably not. The fan in me wants this guy right here to win. Finn Balor. Yeah, I think the fan in me wants Balor to win because I'm a fan of Balor, especially the Demon character, also the Balor Club, which is associated with the Bullet Club, which then takes me back to my favourite wrestler ever, Mr. AJ Styles. More on that one in a bit. I'm slightly undecided, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to pick Balor more out of hope than what I think is going to happen. I think Miz is probably going to retain it, but I do think it is going to be a great match either way. Now, before I get to the double main event, we have to talk about the what if match, or the probably a dead cert but most fans wish it weren't match, as I'm trying to think about it as. Will John Cena get his match against The Undertaker? That is one of the biggest questions that's come out as a result of the WrestleMania 34 card and storylines heading into it. Part of me doesn't want it to happen because I think about how The Undertaker left his gear in the ring at the end of last year's WrestleMania, walked off into the sunset. That was his hurrah, his last hurrah, and he should be left to retire in peace. The other part of me really wants The Undertaker to come back because I want him to go out on a win, not on a loss, and I actually quite enjoy the storyline of Cena almost being desperate to face Undertaker so that he has a match at WrestleMania where he can feel relevant. When has John Cena looked this fragile before? Cena is having to face up to the fact that he's no longer like a main event player. He can't do it full time anymore. He's getting older. What better way than him to make a statement still than going up against The Undertaker? Personally, I don't really want it to happen. But the big question is it going to be this version of The Undertaker that turns up, or is it going to be this version of The Undertaker that turns up? Opinion on that one is also equally as divided. Either way, if the match happens, I'd like to think that The Undertaker will walk out as the victor and his final WrestleMania will be ending on a win, and I hope this is his final WrestleMania because Mark Calloway, I salute you, sir, but we can't keep dragging you out every time we want you to appear at Mania. You need to deserve and enjoy your retirement, sir. And then we get to a match that is going to be my favourite match on this card. I can just guarantee you that one because I am the ultimate AJ Styles mark in the entire world. If I'd thought about this properly and planned it properly, I'd have the gloves on right now because I do own them. I am that sad. I also thought about getting up and changing t-shirt and putting an AJ t-shirt on, but I'm not going to take it to that length. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, one-on-one for the WWE title. That match is going to be huge. Seriously, I can't think of a bigger match than this. They both blew me away in Japan, and it is a dream match happening at main event WrestleMania, even though it's technically going to be the second to last match. It's going to be fantastic. Nakamura, of course, the first Japanese, like legit Japanese person to win the Royal Rumble, I do believe, because I'm fairly sure that although Yokozuna were builders... In fact, did Yokozuna win the Rumble? I'm going to have to look that one up. So it seems the answer is yes. Yokozuna won the Rumble in 1993. I'm fairly sure that I've got at least one friend out there that will be throwing that right at me for not knowing. But Yokozuna won the Royal Rumble in 1993, but of course we all know that Yokozuna was not actually Japanese as he was billed. So Nakamura became the first ever Japanese winner of the Royal Rumble, and I think it's fair to say that while WWE have sort of dropped the ball with Nakamura on the main roster, because let's be honest, he was fantastic in NXT. As for the actual match, as much as I want to plump for Styles, because as I said, ultimate fanboy, I think Nakamura is coming away the winner. And then last but not least, the main event of WrestleMania, the one that, is anybody even waiting for this with excitement? Part-time hero and part-time villain, depending on how you look at him, Brock Lesnar is coming to the main event to defend his title against Roman Reigns. I couldn't care less about this one. I'm not a Reigns fan. I don't hate him like a lot of people do. I think Reigns is a great worker, but he's still got a way to go. But no, The only thing I want this match for is because I want the Universal title taken off of a part-timer. Yeah, it adds an air of mystery for the champion not to be there every week, but at the same time, he's paid mega bucks and appears probably a dozen times a year, whereas you've got guys that are there week in, week out, busting their asses on the road, and you know, Brock's sat at home on his farm, cutting down crops and having a good giggle that he gets paid as much as he does. Both of them could whip my ass with one arm and one leg tied behind the back, and I don't want to sound like I'm insulting either, because I'm not. They're both great workers. As for a prediction, I think Roman is going to show that he's the big dog and it's his yard, and Lesnar is finally going to lose the title. How it happens, don't know. Will it be clean? Will somebody help screw Lesnar over? Who knows? But I can see the big dog taking it home. So there we have it. There's my WrestleMania 34, WrestleMania 2018 predictions. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you care? Do you want me to shut up? Do you want me to never do these videos again? Either way, leave some comments down there. Let me know what you think. See if you think I'm right, wrong, what you think's going to happen, whether you think Cena Taker will happen. Interestingly enough, me and Lexi have most of my friends will probably be aware of Lexi anyway, but I've been in my FIFA videos that I've been doing, I've been linking to her FIFA videos. We've got sort of a competition going on there, both doing the same team. We're going to have a slight bet. So she's going to do one of these videos where she makes her predictions, and I'm obviously doing this one. And whoever gets the most guesses correct, whoever comes closest to the actual events, will be the winner until the next big pay-per-view. We haven't decided how often we're going to do this, but the winner will be considered the Wasley and Lexi champion of guessing stuff. Yeah, we haven't come up with a name yet. I just came out with that. Lexi has got a load of replica titles, and she's graciously decided that whoever gets the most predictions correct gets to keep hold of one of the titles until we do it again. If I can beat her and get more predictions, I will get to sit here in the next video, whatever it is that I film, holding that belt on my shoulder while doing the video. Keep an eye out for her videos. I'll obviously have a link to her channel in the description of this one. Give her a sub if you want. After Mania, we can see which one of us comes out on top and whether I get to keep a precious belt over this shoulder right here. But for now, that is the end of this video, guys. Keep up, if you haven't already, with my FIFA videos. I'm really enjoying that series and having a lot of fun filming it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to twat that thumbs up button, and if you want to see other content I put out, whether it's just waiting for the next interesting video that's not FIFA, or whether you are into FIFA, twat that subscribe button, and other than that, I will see you whenever I do another video.